Welcome back to my actuarial work ABC. I'm Chi Bang, and today we're diving into the second part of our series on what makes a good profit model. In this episode, we're going to discuss about the level of redundancy in our profit models. If you joined us in the last episode, we covered why avoiding a black box model, one that's so dense even its creator could get lost, is crucial for efficiency and clarity. And today, I want to take that a step further. We're looking at redundancy, that's all those extra, unused variables sitting in your profit model library, taking up space and, potentially, causing some hidden risks down the line. If you're wondering what harm the redundancy in the profit model could cause, hang tight. You might be surprised at the answer. Alright, so let's start with what redundancy actually is in a profit model. Essentially, it's the set of variables in your model library that aren't being actively used in any products in the workspace. A high redundancy rate means only a small percentage of your library is pulling its weight in calculations, and that's a red flag for inefficiency. And, here's an easy way to measure it. Look at the ratio of variables used by products to the total number in the library. A lower ratio, say around 33%, means most of the library is in inactive use, and that's an indicator of high redundancy. And yes, if you're wondering where these numbers come from, Profits diagnostic files can give you the details on which variables are actually used by products. Now, in my experience setting up profit models from scratch, particularly before IFRS 17 came along, I'd typically need about 1,200 to 1,500 variables to cover a wide range of products, including both ordinary and investment-linked types. But I've seen models where variable counts soar past 4,000 or 5,000. Let's use a simple example here. Imagine a profit model with 4,500 variables, where only 1,500 are active in calculations. That's just 33% in use, meaning around 67% aren't really doing anything useful, at least, not right now. And that's where we hit our first big question: what's the problem with unused variables? Good question. After all, if they're not in use, what's the harm? Unfortunately, redundancy isn't as harmless as it seems. First, consider that the unused variables in your profit model library might not stay unused forever. As soon as you add a new product, you may end up needing indicators or definitions that weren't previously in play. And if they're not carefully managed, these new variables can end up interacting with existing ones, leading to surprises in the model's calculations. Second, even if you're not actively using these extra variables, they're still part of the library. If you make a modification to the library, how confident are you that it won't impact the other, inactive 3,000? If a calculation unexpectedly shifts due to these hidden dependencies, you may not even notice until the results don't add up. Now, here's another common pitfall that comes with redundancy, what I like to call the patching habit. In models with high redundancy, you'll often see lots of small tweaks added to get around old settings. Ever seen an bypass indicator at the end of an expression? This is an example of a quick fix used to skip over existing definitions without really solving the core issue. And what happens when you need the variables that you have not yet inserted the bypassed indicator in the future? It can lead to some unexpected errors, to say the least. But here's the tricky part. Sometimes we've bypassed so many definitions, until we can't bother to fully validate the model using Profit's validate function. And when the model doesn't pass technical validation, those hidden issues can surface unpredictably, causing all sorts of headaches. In closing, while redundancy might seem harmless at first, it can become a major headache when the model needs to evolve. Excessive patching and redundant variables add complexity and make the model harder to maintain and verify. But by cutting down on redundancy and focusing on only what's truly necessary, we keep the model flexible, accurate, and, yes, easier to manage when new products or requirements come into play. That's all for today's episode on reducing redundancy and profit models. Thanks for tuning in to my actuarial work ABC. I'm Chi Beng, reminding you to keep your models clean, lean, and ready for whatever comes next. Catch you next time.